had the great fortune to go to the UK for 30 days, and one of the things that I wanted to do while I was there was to go fossil hunting. I thought it would be nice to offer to bring back some for my coworkers, and so I asked them. To my surprise, each and every one of them said yes. I wasn't expecting this, but I thought about it and I decided that it would be a fun challenge to try to find and prepare 14 fossils. I also decided to record this whole endeavor so that they could see how I found what I gave them and how I turned it from the raw form in which it was found into the finished product that I handed to them. With all that exposition out of the way, here is the first place I went. I chose this place because, as you can see in the picture here, you find things that are already completely out of the rock and they do not require very much time to finish, and I thought that that would be necessary if I wanted to get 14 of these done in the spare time I had during my trip to the UK. Sadly, the water levels here were too high, so I couldn't actually see or access anything, but I was able to get a clip that really well answers a question that I get asked a lot about fossil hunting.
That's one, that's one, that's one, that's one right there. They're just cluttered through all of this. Probably every fourth stone that you're looking at is a graphia right now. When people ask me, are fossils hard to find? No, they really aren't. It's just finding the slightly rarer ones, the ones that are a little bit cooler, that are difficult.
After spending a couple hours at this spot, I decided I would get a better use out of my time by leaving and trying to get access to a different site.
So leaving yesterday was in fact a good idea because I was able to get access to this site. So this is a brick maker, or brick site. They quarry clay from here, use it to make bricks, but there are some layers that do produce fossils and they deposit it over that way. So we're gonna go find that spot. This is it right here, and it does not look promising. It looks like all of the big rocks have been beat up, and with all of the plant growth, it looks like nothing has been dropped here for a while. So I'll pick over what's here and see if we can't find anything. You only find good examples in the rock, and that's because these nodules protected the ammonites from the pressure. Look, another graphia. They protected the ammonites from the pressure of the ground above them during the fossilization process and made it to where they could be preserved in 3 dimensions. So here, that just sounds like you're hitting dirt, but that's because there is a nodule there. So I'm going to try to extract this. I don't know how big it is or how deep it goes, but yeah, all of them are broken. I did find this piece, so you can see here how there is depth to that. That's a broken up one. There's the center of one, and there's the outer whorl of one. So yeah, hopefully there's good ones like this in that rock there. So a bit of an update. That got the edge around that and around that done. Just need to tidy up this edge and maybe I can get that end in under it and pull it up. But I got distracted because I was cutting this edge out and I found this. And the black would normally make me think pyritized wood. I can't see any texture anywhere. Not a pyritized, petrified wood. It's not really recoverable. Yeah, maybe it is wood. Look at that. There's some grain going that way. I don't know. So I've got all the edges tidied out. I've got my chisel underneath it to hopefully break any suction or whatever might be happening. Ah! Ah! Whew! Cool. Yeah, and then on the back side, look, there's more. Guy there, guy there, guy there. This probably was part of a bigger one, but in the quarrying process, it split along here. Now they've got it on its side. I'm gonna start hitting it with my hammer to try to get flakes to come off this way, because generally, as you can see with all of these ones, the ammonites will be on their side in like this, because they'll have died, hit the floor, and gone on their side. So splitting it this way gives us the best chance of getting something worthwhile out of it. So this guy here, he's probably not 3D, but he's a bit more 3D than the other ones. So I'm just slowly using my chisel to try to expose a bit more and see what's what. It's a nice little break from going full bore with it. And I've never actually used a chisel like this to reveal stuff delicately like this. So I've been going at it. This is the first one that I was like delicately chipping away at, and as you can see, the inner whorls are really, really flat. It might have had some depth to it, but it wasn't very much. This one here is a bit deeper, and you can see there's a decent bit of curvature to that, so that one might be all right. And then there's this one right here, and you can see there's some thickness to it in this direction. So yeah, I've been working on getting that one exposed by getting the rock off on top of it. So I've been moving around, trying to get good angles, and I got this. Might not seem like much, but that is an edge that broke off of this one here. And it has pretty good depth to it. So I think if I can get this out carefully, I'll be able to glue this back on and prep it out. So I really just need a way to get this out effectively. So there's a ton of rock on this side, a little bit less on that side. Ideally, I'd be able to break it along this calcite line here and get this chunk to take back, because it's super, you can see the crystals inside of it and the crystals inside of this. Super crystalline, super delicate. So that one has some real promise because it's got depth throughout the entire thing. So yeah, that's the new focus. This is the big one, the promising one. Let me get these glasses off so I can see better. This is this part of it, so I'll be able to glue that back on and prep it. I'll probably come at it from this direction. And as you can probably tell, I got it into a manageable chunk. Ugh, I can't pick it up one-handed though. Ugh. Yeah, so I might try to reduce it down further. There are some nice faults here I could exploit. Because if I can get this smaller, then I might be able to get one or two more out of the rest of the blocks. Because I do need to get 14 while I'm here. So this is what you saw before. Able to get it to something a lot smaller. On the back side, there's this guy. So not complete. And this part is crushed, but the inner whorls might be good. So I'll take this home. I'll use the prep tools to help me split it in a way that won't break this or this. And yeah, so I got that one. Decent size. I probably will keep the flattened stuff just because it does add extra flavor. It's actually not, it's crushed, not flattened. We can actually see the other side of it right there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I think if I take that rock off there, I'll be able to see some cool stuff. So yeah, I'm happy with that size. I'm gonna tape this back on there. Uh-oh, if I can find it. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm gonna find that piece, tape it on there. Is it this? No, crap. Yeah, I'm gonna find the piece that goes there, tape it on with some electrical tape. I'm gonna reduce this block down, so it's just that ammonite there on it. And that'll be, what, 1, 2, 3, hopefully. So, still a ways to go, but yeah, promising. So I got those two bits taped together again. Got this one reduced down, and one of the things with fossil hunting is sometimes things just don't work out. And this guy here would have been pretty sweet, but yeah, that's the other half of him there. But yeah, there was no way to know that on the back side of this, there was this one here. Actually, there was. There was that keel there popping out. So I could have been more careful. But there's only so many hours in the day that you can spend being careful. I don't have. If I wanted to carefully chisel out every single possible one in here, it would take probably 4 weeks. Sometimes you just need to give it a bash and hope that it works out. I got a bit too greedy with this one. You can see that edge of it there is damaged, and it is here on the reverse, but I don't know how well it would glue together because it is so crystalline that probably a bunch of it flaked away, and it doesn't fit perfectly back together either. Like, it goes pretty well back together, but it's not, oh, you can see it's not perfect. And I think that's because parts of it have flown away or whatnot. So I was going after this guy here, might be all right, juicing the block down, and that guy split out of it, which he's only small, average thumb for size, but it's pretty, not too beat up. So yeah, since I don't know how much I'll find during my time, I will definitely take that back. I think that's definitely more than cool enough, and this one here might turn out all right. Yeah, I'll add this lump to the pile. I'm not going to reduce down further because if I do, I'll probably break something. But yeah, that one, it's a bit small, but that's the best split I've had today. That's lucky. So splitting it down further, this one's quite promising. It's a really good split down to the center. I was thinking about gluing the other half on. Maybe I'll be, because I won't be able to make a better center than that with my tools. I think I'll leave it and prep it with the crystal showing, and hopefully exposing the whorls underneath it will show enough of the actual thing. You can't tell now, but it was just raining a fair bit, and I had broken down the rock as much as I wanted to. And yeah, I'm winded now. Backpack is nice and heavy. In total, I have probably 10 ammonites, but I expect a fair few of those to not be great. So we'll just have to see with prep. We'll have to see if I can even prep if my air compressor or air scribe works. Whew. But yeah, today was a much more successful outing than yesterday. So I got a temporary prep setup going. We'll make a box someday to keep all of these shards of rock that you see a bit more contained. This is what I was able to do with the tiniest one, or the smallest block at least. It's okay. There's no center, or if there's a center, I can't get it to pop. I'll show you nice and close. Yeah, so if there's a center, I don't want to break it. I'll probably end up throwing this away. But if I do find it someday when I have an air scribe or air abrasive, I'll give it a go. So now that I kind of know what the matrix is like, I'm going to move on to this block. So I'm going to try to extract this dude. I saw this while I was looking at it just now. Crushing, not crushed. So I'll take all of this off here, which will serve to get this guy's keel exposed, but also will let me know if this here is worth anything. So this is the second half of the time lapse that you guys saw right in the intro, and with this we're actually getting a bit more into it and actually starting to reveal more of the ammonite that's below where I'm working at right now, and also seeing how close it gets to the other one. I will keep all of these time lapses in their entirety, just so that way the people whose fossils they are can see all of the work that went into it. But for those people who this isn't their fossil, or you're just a random person and you don't care about this, I will add a little scrolling bar so that way you can just tap through this if you don't want to deal with it. But I quite like it. I think it's relaxing to watch, but I understand it's not everybody's cup of tea. So yeah, it turned out pretty stinking good. The preservation is alright. It's hard to come off on video. You can kind of see it there. The roots are great. The nodes there towards the inner side are preserved pretty dang well. So I'm going to expose more of it because that will tell me how close this gets to that one, which will give me an idea of what I'm working with for extracting this one from the rest of the matrix. So this is our little guy that we've seen from forever, and this is what we were working on in the last clip. So last clip is prepared to about there, I think. I've moved it back a little bit more, started to get that. And I think that this is something that I do want to try to extract and prepare completely. Problem is, it is really, really close to this other one. So I'm going to work on getting this one out by creating a bunch of holes all the way around that go in. And hopefully all those points of weakness will shear together and this will just pop right out. Rock doesn't like to work exactly how you want it to, so it might not happen, but I'm gonna give it my best and see what happens. That might work. I'm covering up the camera. Oh well. Here. Boom, there you can see now. Ah! Ha ha! Ha ha ha! It worked! I was not expecting that to work. Cool. So now that we've got that one off, I'm going to work on getting this one a bit more prepared. That'll let me see what the rest of this year is looking like, and it will give me a better idea of how I want to get it out of the matrix, because we still have this one down here that we want to see if it's complete. I only have about 30 minutes, so I'm going to get as much taken off around this edge as I can, and then maybe start working on undercutting it here and maybe here if I can get all of this off in 30 minutes. I was able to get way more into the center of this one. I'm happy with it. There's still more tidying up I need to do. I'd like to expose more of this swirl here where it's covered in calcite. And I can do that, I think, by getting rid of all of this shell up here, which at first I thought was this swirl here, but just crushed and pushed up. But you can just make out some shell there that goes around. So this here is part of this whirl continuing on around, and this flattened whirl here. And I don't super want that, so I could take it off, but I'm not going to do that right now. I want to worry about getting this guy off in its own matrix, so I'm going to cut hopefully this much, half and pop off in that much matrix. And if I can make it pop easily, then I'll maybe keep this, and I'll maybe get the crush whirls that we can see there. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to cut this rock off and hopefully get this guy in his own block of matrix. So a bit of an update. I've got it quite bowled out. I just need to get it separated now. There's a lot of calcite lines here, and there's a couple of fault lines. You can see one right there. That makes me concerned. I did try hitting it with a chisel. It did not work. So I'm going to go back at it with the pen and get it more scribed out. Alrighty, that's another half hour. Gonna get the chisel right in here. And we're gonna give it another go. Got my safety glasses on. Got the focus in the right spot. Ah. Hope I missed. Ah! I should stop making that noise. Boom. Well, that was a little bit more exciting than I anticipated, but this guy's free. Not perfect. Does it stand on its own?
kind of does. Well, it's also on wood. Yeah. So I can smooth that out, or I can leave that as is. It's not perfect, but it's pretty dang good. And now you can move on to this guy. This is the first time I've actually shown the air scribe in real time, and that's because I got a couple of really nice pops here and another one right here. And it doesn't normally go this easy, and this was really satisfying and it made me quite happy. So bad news, it is very poorly preserved. You can see this calcite line, this one here too, and this one. These are all points where at some point the rock cracked, and then these minerals, these crystals, grew in and filled it. So there are parts of it, there are other parts of it that are not there. But you can see this whole bit here is all messed up. This is messed up. You can see how crushed everything is out here. So I don't think this is salvageable, which is quite sad. I still got 2 out of this block though, so I'm quite happy with that. It is just sad that this one, that looks so promising, turned out to be so poor. But that's just kind of the way that it goes. You never know until you get the rock exposed and see what's going on. So I will pick another one and move on to it. So up next we have the really crystalline one, and I don't know if it comes across super well on the video, but it does have a lot of crystals, but they are really fragmented. And so using a little mini jackhammer on it might cause some of them to break free, and we don't want that. So I have this stuff called Paraloid B72, and what it is essentially liquid plastic dissolved in acetone. And so when the acetone evaporates, there should be somewhat of a plastic skeleton built into this thing. So hopefully it's not nearly as susceptible to... Oh, that's crazy. It's made it translucent. You can see through to the shell on the other side in there. If it doesn't come across in the... Oh yeah, right there. You can see the pale white on the other side of that. That's pretty cool. Well, while that cures, I'll talk about my game plan for this. So obviously a lot of it is exposed already. I'm going to try to expose this whorl here leading into this here. So the outermost whorls are crushed. So there's probably some weird shenanigans going on right there. So I'm going to work back from here over that way, and hopefully that'll show me what is viable, what isn't, and we can go from there. So I think that turned out pretty good. I was able to expose all of this whorl here, able to expose the crushed whorl to show that it was bigger at one point. The calcite crystals are made in place. I couldn't get all of the matrix out of there, but it's just too crushed, and if I went any further I would start chipping off the crystals. So yeah, might end up doing some work to where it sits a bit better, because it sits on its own like it is, but it's not really the center point of that, and it is very top heavy, just like that. But that's if I have time. This is in a shippable format. The next one's going to be this guy. So back is blown out here, which is unfortunate. Top is crushed, but there very well may be a nice little center in there. So this should be a fairly quick one. Boom. This has been an absolute pleasure to work on. This hasn't been too long, maybe 20 minutes, and I'm already down pretty dang close to center. It is quite fragmentary in there, but I think it is above the threshold of quality that I need to be happy to give this to my coworkers as a gift. I'm starting to lose the light, and there is some double-skinned calcite in here, and I don't quite have the light to be able to see, just because I'm working under sunlight right now. I don't have any lights in here. So yeah, I'm going to do the smart thing and take a break until tomorrow. But yeah, I think this turned out quite nice. I'll just knock this bit off tomorrow, and then find out a way to get this off of this block without splitting down this calcite line here and breaking this nice ammonite in half. So yeah, good progress, good news. I think this one will turn out pretty well, which is nice to have a good one, because it's been a couple duds in a row now, I think. So this is where we're at. I think it's turned out pretty okay. A lot of the shell has come off. It wasn't super steady,
and I think the more that I do, the more damage will be done. So I'm going to leave it as is. Some oil did get from the pen onto this, so I will have to give it a brush later on, and hopefully that all comes off and makes it a bit cleaner looking. All I have left to do now is to get it onto a block of its own, and I think from there I'll be able to see how I want it to finally sit. So another 45 minutes or so of work. I was getting this done, starting this, and then I had every now and then I'll take the chisel out and just smack it around just to try to create some fractures the way I want it to be. I created a fracture the way that I did not want it to be, and it goes up here around the edge and actually into the outer whorl itself. So I can wiggle it. Slightly very hard to see, but if I can keep, yeah, you can see this bit here just moving up and down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this down so that way it doesn't fly off, because I don't want it to fly off. This connects to this bit over here, and I like it, and it gives it a bit more volume. And instead, I'm going to use this here as my bottom, that there as my boundary this way, and cut off a lot less than I was originally expecting to. So it'll be in a smaller block. Maybe it'll sit like that. I don't know. But yeah, close call. I'm glad I had the glue, and I'm glad I didn't hit it too hard. So the block looks quite different. I got lazy and was hitting it with the hammer. This chunk here came off, which I think worked out pretty good. It revealed all this nice calcite crystal here, and I kept working around there, and you can see there's a big old crack, and that's because I again got lazy and started hitting it with the hammer, and it came off exactly how we wanted it to. So on its own, a little nice. It doesn't stand up very well either way, so I'll probably end up just like getting this here and just gluing it to the back or something so it sits upright a little bit better. But yeah, I think that's what number 4 that's on its own in a somewhat shippable form. So yeah, not bad. I made it. Took 4 hours of driving, but I'm at Port Mulgrave up in Yorkshire. I'm going to go search through all of that. There is a guy down there already. Right there in center frame. So hopefully he's missed something or leaves something that he doesn't want. I'm not after anything too crazy. Maybe it doesn't make it too far. We'll see. Or he could have come around from the other way, because you can come around to get to there. So I'm going to scurry on down there and hopefully I can find something. Cool, made it to the bottom, only a little bit out of breath. I can't quite tell what direction that guy's going, mainly because I can't see him right now, so I don't know if this stuff here has already been searched. But to start, this is what we're looking for. If it will focus, thank you. So this isn't a very well preserved one, but they're in little nodules like this, and you can imagine a full one. So now I just gotta look through all these rocks. Like this almost looks like a nodule. It's a little bit thin, and there's nothing showing. So it might be a nodule, might not be. I'll put it in my pocket just in case. This is definitely a nodule. You can see there's some shells in there. No ammonites though, just little bivalves. See that compared to that? It's got the right shape to have one in there. I'll put it in the pocket, beat it with a hammer later on. So the guy's footprints go that way. So I've been searching through here to look at stuff he hasn't looked at. Found this bit of shale, and this is what the nodules come out of, is rock like this. Flip this one over, and I'm not going to collect it, but it is pretty cool. This is a belemnite, kind of like a squid, and this is the fragment cone here where the creature would have actually lived. This is like the guard. It's like a hard tip on the belemnite itself. A little bit of rock falling from the cliff there. That's why we're all the way over here, because I don't want to get hit in the head by falling rock. Found a couple of things, nothing worth stopping everything for. Oh. Speaking of, that's our first proper ammonite for sure. You can see it there and see it there. There's another one there, or it's the same one but just whirling back in. Awesome. Cool. For sure, this is a decent one. So before I found that one that I caught finding, I found this guy. It has a roll around there. So that might be alright when I prep it. I can prep it from this side or the other one, just because this is worn here, but we'll see how that goes. And then I've got these ones. Alright, first up we have this one with some little guys in it. I'm going to try to break it right here, see if anything comes out for us. So yeah, there is a guy there, and there is one. Oh, actually, you can see just there the outer whorl of one. There's another one there, and one that broke off here. So what I want to do, take this, put it back on, and then I'll glue that and prep it when I get back, because there's a few in there. There's that guy there, that guy there. Probably end up just destroying this one here. But yeah, that's a decent little multi. Don't know if that will stay with me or go to a coworker or what. But it's nice to see that there is some decently preserved one seeper in there.
After beating up that rock, I beat up another rock, and I definitely cut my hand a bit with it. I'm only showing it here in its blurred form as a way to be more, one, authentic. I made a mistake, and that was on me. And two, if you're doing stuff like this, be safe, be careful, because you can hurt yourself.
Split a few more things open, nothing really collectible, but cool little shells. And then the rarest thing we found today, this is a bit of Hildocerus, and you can tell the species because of that grooved edge right there. Another interesting thing, this guy. So I don't actually know what that is or what that is. The other half is here, right there. I'm thinking maybe lobster, because maybe that right there is the pincer. I don't know, it's not super well preserved. I think I'll take it back just because I'm curious. But yeah. Other thing I found is this guy. See there, boom. And on the other side, there's the outer whorl of it. So a bit raggedy, but might prep well, so that'll go in the bag. I was able to find this guy right here. So not terribly awesome, but it might all be there. There's a fossil somewhere in that bit. You see kind of the orangey bit there. I picked it up and checked to make sure it was what I thought it was, and then I put it back down. I'll get a bit closer. It should be pretty obvious now. So we can see there's the imprint of one that used to be there, right there. Might be some more of it in that. But this guy here is really what we're after. So hopefully he's all in there.
And that is everything that is worth showing you guys that I found. There is one more thing that I do want to show you that I didn't capture on video down on the beach.
A little bit of seabed. I don't know if this was on camera or not, but there's one there. You can see rammed through with stuff. Tiny guy there, tiny guy there. So if I can repair it well, if it splits at this level with the air scribe, it should turn out pretty good. So I've chosen this guy. The separation between the matrix and the fossil seems to be pretty good. Like you can see there, there's an actual gap. So I don't think this one will be terribly difficult to prep. There are multiple in here, I think. So I'm curious to see what it all looks like inside. I don't know which side I'm going to prep it from, but I'm going to have a gander, and I might be able to time lapse this one because I don't think I'll have to get too awfully close to it to see what's going on. I bet it will be pretty easy going.
This one started out quite easy. You can see the big chunks of brown getting revealed there, and another one in a few seconds, but as you got further away from where the water had gotten to it, it got really sticky, so I had to stop the recording and really focus up and not damage it.
So a lot better update for this one. The center goes pretty far down, which I really appreciate. And this was only an hour. It did take a little bit more finesse, and I had to get closer than I thought I would have originally. There's weird stuff going on here. There are other ammonites in here, so I don't know if this shell here is just other ammonites, but it doesn't seem like the top here continues through. You can see it goes down right there, and there's no shell. So I'm just going to clean up. I don't think it'll take me too terribly long, and then after I finish this one up, I'm going to move on to this guy. So I think prepping it from the other side would be nice, so that way this worn away bit here you can see, but I am coming up on quite a bit of time pressure, so I think I will prep from this side. I might try to get some wet and dry sandpaper and polish these few chambers off here, just so the crystals look a little bit better. But yeah, I'm going to finish this guy, then move on to this one. Okay, update time. Not perfect, but it's pretty dang good. I like it. I'm going to move on. This is what I've got done on this one. It is sticking a lot more than I thought it would. You can see here, the shell is on. Here, the shell is off. I'm going to try to take the shell off and all of here because you can see it just doesn't look very good. I'm hopeful that there will be a complete center because you can see there are ribs just in there. But it is quite shallow, so it might be difficult for me to create fractures to actually get the rock off at that depth. But I'm going to try to finish this one up here quick. Alrighty, this is what we're looking at. It's not perfect, it's not fantastic. It will look better once I get a coat of something on it. But due to timeline, I'm going to leave it as is and move on to another thing. I'm going to work on this little guy real quick. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to take this bit off here just because it's not contributing anything, it's just ugly. And I'm going to prep it from this side and hopefully I'll be able to cut a base here so that way it'll just sit like that.
This one was really fun because I was able to do pretty much the entire thing in one go. It was really quite a good one to work on. It just was cooperative. I didn't have to get too close anywhere, and it turned out really, really well. I talked a little bit of trash about this one when I picked it up and when I reviewed it a couple times, but this is probably my favorite one out of the bunch that we got from that trip to Port Mulgrave. It was just so quick and easy and painless, and it turned out beautifully, which that might be a bit of a spoiler, but you know what, I don't care. You guys will see it anyway. Yeah, it's not perfect by any means, but it is lovely, it is cute. I didn't get any stand for it made, but that's another thing that if I run into this person again, I will happily do my best to make them a stand for it, or they can buy one of those plexiglass ones. But yeah, here is the update.
Turned out pretty dang good. I like it. I can tidy it up. The mouth border here, which isn't really a mouth border, but the top here is crushed. You can see there's some weird stuff going on there, but really nice sutures down the side. Pretty quick and easy prep. Goes right down to the middle. I'm happy with it. Going to see what's up with this guy now. The paraloid has had a chance to work in there. Hopefully that'll keep it a little bit stronger. But just in case, I'm going to start on this side and work my way back. I don't know if these are part of the same one. They are kind of in weird positions for it. I don't know if this ammonite here is the only one and this whorl here has split off from it. But I'm going to get to it. Alright, so I've been doing some work and yeah, no real answers. There's some crushing here, so I think this whorl might be misplaced. This seems like a reasonable whorl, like how it should be, so that's quite good. So I don't know what this looks like further in. I don't know why that's there. Also, there's a little crack. See if I can get it to show on the camera. You can't see it on the camera, but there's a crack right in here. So I've been working here. Oh, I can just barely make it out on the phone. So there is a crack there that runs around coming through here, and that's no good. We do not want it to break there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it up. I'm not going to get glue in my mouth this time. I'm going to let that sit, and while that is sitting, I'm going to work on this guy. Because I want to give this plenty of time to penetrate in there and hold it all together. So I have this pretty nice looking guy. Should all be in there. I don't know if this belongs to the same ammonite as that. But either way, I'm going to prep it from this side because this one is a bit more worn, as you can see. So hopefully it will lay like that and look pretty decent. This guy that I was working on has some preservation errors there. You can see that there's no shell there, so I started working on the backside because it seems like the preservation here is because of a fault, so it might be good on the other side. But the glue on this piece should have dried by now, so I'm going to get at it because I'm really curious to see how this all goes together. and if there's anything decent inside, because sometimes crushing can look pretty cool. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a good go, see how far I can get before either it's too far gone or it looks good. Alrighty, I have answers. So it seems from here in, it's normal. This side is worn, so that's why it looks weird. But it should be a regular spiral all the way in, putting the center right around there. And if we look on the other side, that's right about where the center is. So it seems that from here on, it was crushed. So this might actually be the genuine extent to where the thing grew to. But obviously this is all crushed. I don't know if I'll take this all off or not and just leave the perfect inner bits. I'm just gonna have a go at getting the center out and see how that looks. And then I think I can decide from there. But yeah, it's looking promising. Not my best work, it's not perfect. This is being really sticky and really painful. So I'm not going to go at it anymore because I think I would just do more damage. I'm gonna leave it as is. And if this coworker ever runs into another base with me, cool. I can further prepare it because hopefully I'll have better tools and better skills by then. But yeah, it's quite all right. Not perfect, but I'm on a timeline, so I can move on. Move on to this guy. Again, this guy has weird damage here where the shell isn't preserved. So I'm going to go at it from this side, and hopefully this one is easier than the other one. I spent all day on that last one, and I don't have that kind of time. So hopefully this one, nice and quick. You can see here's where the preservation issues were, and if we translate it onto the other side, it doesn't seem to have that issue. It's splitting pretty well here. It's getting a bit sticky there, so I think if I just go all the way back around, because this is the direction it grew in, so as we go this way it's getting smaller and it will wrap around to here. So I'm just going to walk this all the way back. The center is coming a little bit already. It does look a little bit grody, and that's because this is spitting out a bit of water. You can see like that gunk in there. This is where the air comes out the sides. Yeah, that's because my water filter isn't the best. Good news, bad news. Bad news, there is weird crushing here. You can see how it goes from that, and it's like all cockeyed. There's no preservation there. And also, if we look here, you can see there's not preservation there. This is kind of cool though, because this could be a bite. I am in no way an expert and able to understand or identify what predation looks like, but it is mouth shaped vaguely. So this and this make me worried about the overall thing, and so I really want to know if there's a center. And you can see there's ribs there that go all the way around, so I think there's a good center underneath this, so I can overlook the damage here. So yeah, I think this will turn out well, and it will be worth another hour or so of trying to get the center out and to make it look nice and pretty. Boom. So it's not perfect. This here is a little bit not great. The center isn't pinpoint. I can't quite get it down there. If I do, I'll just do more damage. But I think that's more than good enough for the use case. Sadly, no matter what I did, the center would not stay on this guy. Really quite sad, especially with those super pretty sutures over there. But yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. In my frustration, I started working on this block. This is a block with the really promising one here, with this part over here being glued back on. I'll probably end up keeping this one for myself, so I'm not going to prioritize it anymore. And there was one right here, and you can see a tiny bit of it left. The rest of it is missing, and that is because it came off perfectly all on its own. Not as good quality. You can see there's no sutures in the calcite right there. There's a tiny one there. Center's not quite perfect, but it sits on its own just like that. It's got nice calcite walls around it, so it's nice and pretty. The kid screaming in the background seems to agree with me. So yeah, I did get one good thing out of this last little bit. So I'm going to pick another one and start working on it. I don't know what it is yet. So I think this might be a good one to do next. This is the one with a few of them in there. I'm trying to think about what direction or side I want to prep it from. I'm thinking I could get rid of that one and prep it from this side. Or, It's tricky. I think I will come at it from this side and focus on the big main one. And then once I have that done, I can look at maybe going for the other ones. So the first step is going to be gluing these 3 pieces back together to provide back support for this when I'm coming at it from the other direction. Hopefully it's not too hard of a matrix and it will cooperate, but we'll see. All right, so it's been a lot of digging, and you can just make out, obviously there's this ammonite here. We're not too worried about that, but I believe I have found the main one, which is right there. You can just see just a bit of brown. I'm going to try to time-lapse it because I haven't done one of those in a minute. Yeah, and it's all pretty shallow because I'm just randomly digging. And it seems to not be a terribly difficult prep, just the way that everything is going. So I stopped the time lapse pretty early on, and that's because this has not been nearly as easy as I thought it would be. I have this one exposed, a fairway, this one almost complete. There's another one over here I'd like to do. It's that one in cross section there. This one is too beat up, so I'll just get rid of it. So I would like to have 1, 2, 3, and there might be a 4th one here that we can get at, because I remember there being one underneath this guy here that we had when we exposed it. But slight issue, it stops there. It's hard to tell on the camera. That's not too bad actually. You can see how I've gone lower than the rest of it and there's nothing there. So that makes me worried that all of this half could be gone, but you can see there are some inner whorls right there. So I'm going to go after those, see if there's a center, because if there's a center, 1 center, 2 center, 3 center would be nice. So update, you can see there it has stopped preservation as well. So here it stops, but in the middle it's good to go. It could go a little bit further to the center maybe, but I don't think I'm good enough to do that, nor do I have air abrasion. So yeah, this one turned out pretty okay, this one turned out pretty okay. I'm going to see now if I can get that guy, the one on the right hand side there, to come out.
It was at this point that we went to our last hunt of the trip, and you saw some of it at the very beginning of the video. Only one thing actually turned out very well, and it came from this batch of rocks here. I was very lucky to see these rocks and realize these probably have something in them.
I'm gonna hit that or that with a hammer. This I might hit just because it doesn't look too promising. This is a similar looking rock, but nothing on the outside, so I'll hit that one. So this is why we come to places like this, is for the awesome color. I don't know if it comes across on the camera, but a really nice gold. Also, I don't know if I showed this off. This is a bit of heteromorph. Pretty stinking rare. And these are like ammonites, they're in the same family, but they don't have the traditional coiled shape. They can be straight, they can be all kinds of weird shapes and sizes. You won't ever find a complete one of those here, but it's still cool to see a fragment. But one of the nodules very well may have a center. You can see it curves around there. It doesn't come out on either end, but the inner whorls might be preserved. And again, it's got that super cool golden color. So yeah, that'll go in the bag. All right, so we haven't even done the review of everything we got from Folkestone yet, but I really want to see if there's anything in these nodules. This one is the most promising. There could be an inner whorl beneath this, so I really want to see that. Of all the ones from those black nodules, this is the only one that has a center or is any good. You can see here it's hollow, and here it's hollow. I do want to take off the other side to see if it's better preserved than this bit here. Come on, focus now, there you go. Than this bit here. But I'm scared if I go all the way to the center, since it's so thin at the center just because it's a smaller part of the ammonite, and
it's hollow, that it might just blow through and destroy this side too. So I'm going to check out the other side of the biggest whorl, and if it's good, then I might go in for the rest of it. I'm not going to time lapse or anything because I really need to focus up and not destroy this thing. So I wasn't able to go all the way to the center because you can see there that damage is mirrored on the other side. So there's no point in me getting the rest of it off because it would probably do more harm than good. But yeah, I got the keel all the way exposed. It doesn't go any further down than this, which is sad, but still, it's got a center. It's got really cool colors. I'll coat the other side with B72, and I might give it all a coat with some liquid wax polish if I think that will look good. But yeah, going to get back to work on the triple block that we have. Alrighty, update on the triple. This guy got the center out. I'm going to leave it as is since we're running up on time issues. I will definitely have to coat it with something to hopefully make the little pock marks that I left less visible, and it should tie it all together a little bit better. I think it turned out pretty okay. It's obviously not perfect. I'm not perfect, so there's that, but I think it's quite pretty, and there's 3 centers in there, so it's a good deal. This one I think might turn out pretty well. You can see there's a Dactylostrus, I believe, gracile there, another one there, and there's more in the block itself. You can see that's the imprint of one center, another center imprint there. That is the center of something right there, but I think I will just focus on these 2. Alrighty, couple updates, couple good, couple bad. First up, good. This one is starting to look pretty okay. The center on this one will not pop. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. I don't want to scuff it up too much. I tried looking at this guy, this whorl up there. It's not popping off, so I'm not messing with it. And I just noticed as I was sitting down to record this down here is actually another ammonite. You can see the ribs, rib going from the side there. So I'll take this a little bit off, see what's up with that. It probably won't have a center. Actually, that might be its center right there. Maybe not. It looks a little bit off center. But yeah, that'll be another little cool thing to show. Now that I've got back into prep and I have a bit more muscle memory restored, I'm gonna go after this guy again, see if I can't make a center out of him, because it looks like there might be a center, but it looks like I just got too scared. So I don't remember what exactly was going through my head when I was doing this one, but I'm gonna give it another go because it's 80% done already. So I did some more work on it, and bam! Obviously it's not perfect, but it's pretty dang cool, I think, and definitely is within the standard that I want. So now I can actually spend some time finishing up stuff. Firstly, this guy is too big. I'm going to try to cut a base for it, probably going around there with the Dremel. I've got some stuff that might help me do that a bit safer and a bit easier, so I'm gonna go grab that, and yeah, I'm gonna go recount, make sure I have enough, and then get to working on finishing things to get ready to display. I'm very glad that I reattacked this one. I don't know why I stopped before, but I think it'll be a pretty stinking good one. So I actually didn't get this until about halfway through my time in the UK, and it was really handy for being able to create flat surfaces upon which to break stuff. And I didn't record audio at all for this, I guess I was just done, but you can see there, bam, it's got a nice little stand. It didn't split exactly where I wanted it to, but it turned out pretty good and it sits on its own. And after this, we get into polishing off everything with some B72. We went and put this on every single thing that we had from Port Mulgrave and from Folkestone. That's just because it doesn't turn out super well on the ones from Peterborough. And this serves a lot of purposes, like before we talked about how it can make it more structurally sound, but this time it reduces the pockmarks from where I touched the fossil with the air scribe, and it also just gives it a really nice sheen that we'll see when we review all of these here in a second. They're all done. They're all good to go. We're going to go over them in descending age, just so everybody can see what they have, how old it is, and what it is called. So, starting off from Folkestone, the only one that we're actually giving away, because the other ones either didn't turn out or we don't have them, so we're keeping them for ourselves. Really golden, really cool. I don't know what the species is called or how old it is, but I'll figure that out and put it below. Quite like this one. I'm glad that I hit that rock. Then we're on to the stuff that we found here in Cambridgeshire. Tiny little Cosmos Eris. I'm giving this to the tallest coworker I have because this one's so tiny, and I think that's funny. Then we have a few more. Again, another nice Cosmos Eris. They all turned out pretty stinking good. I'm surprised I got so many out of that one nodule.
This one is nice, it stands up on its own. Had to beat the crap out of the bottom to make it go. It didn't even go where I wanted it to. Found a different plane to break off of, but it's fine. We're happy with it. Good stuff. Thank you. Another one. This one has a bit more of a crushed outer whorl, but the crystals on the side are pretty. Calcite running all through it. Pretty nice. This one came off of a block that has the most promising looking one. It sits nice and flat. It's got crystals all around the side. It's quite pretty. I like the way this turned out. And the last Cosmoceros, this one, super crystalline there on the side. So I'm giving it to the coworker who likes crystals the best. A couple more imprints. If I'm ever based with her again and she wants me to recut it or reshape it, I can do that. But for now, I think the imprints add and they're worth the time and space. Now we're on to the stuff from Mulgrave. So first up, tiny little guys. Turned out better than I was expecting. Quite like it. And then these, I believe, are all the same species of DAC. Someone who watches this who's more nerdy about this than me and thinks I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. I think the polish turned out really well with the B72. Yeah, they just look really nice. I could have done more with the centers on some of them, but if they ever want me to redo it, I can just use acetone to take away the polish and aerobrate it if I have an aerabrator by that point in time. B72 actually helped these chambers down here pop out a little bit more, which is nice. And then only a couple left. I really like this one, and I like how I was able to get it all on time lapse. It's a pretty little thing. And then the last one, the triple. This one probably took the most amount of time, and I could have done more with it, but hey, I did pretty good with the time allotted. Very supportive team I got here too. Yeah, turned out pretty good. Yeah, that's that. Let's get them packed up now.